Take two. Had some problems last time. Sorry. Anyway, it's me, Brian, with another installment of my review of the Bread Book of Magic. This time we're doing E-spells. It starts with Earth Shield. Same spell, no changes. Infinite number of hit points for the shield, but you're still eligible for knockback. Okay, Earth Power. Same spell again, or same spell as the other. So whenever your magic points, your power falls to 0, and you are in touch with the Earth, you can draw right from the Earth itself 1 point of power and 1d8 magic points, stackable. So if you stack it, 2 gets you, actually, it's a 3-point spell. So 4 gives you 2 power and 2d8. 5 gives you 3 power and 3d8. Okay, again, physical contact with the Earth. This spell is unique in that it can be cast instantaneously as a reaction whenever your power or magic points go to 0, even if you already acted that round, but eliminates any actions remaining for the rest of the round. Why is that? It only takes 1 strike rank to cast the spell. I mean, we can cast more than 1 spell around. It's only 1 attack per round, whether it's a spell or physical, right? Again, if you get more magic points than your power can support, once you spent those, they're gone. They regenerate. Okay, new spell, Earth Touch. Lets you read the exact power, strength, constitution, size, intelligence, power, dexterity, and charisma of any entity touched. Okay. It also tells you their current magic points and their current hit points. Good to go. You can boost it though, so you can get through counter magic and shield. Earth Warm, another new spell. This is nice. This is handy. Causes an area of soil or rock up to 50 meter radius in 10 centimeters. Is that right? 2.5 centimeters per inch. 2, 5, so almost 4 inches. Yeah. 10 centimeters deep to be warmed by 10 degrees Celsius for 12 hours. It says regardless. I assume that means it maintains that temperature for the 12 hours. Doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. Of the rest of the soil or the surrounding air, right? It doesn't matter. This stays at 10 degrees higher than it was when you cast the spell for that 12 hours. Okay, that's making some sense. If you do this at an earth or a fire temple, the radius becomes a kilometer, and it lasts for a whole week. That's hefty. Okay, so stackable. Each additional rune point either increases the radius by 50 meters, or kilometer temple, right? Yeah. Or raises the temperature by +5 degrees Celsius. Why not +10? The first one did 10. Why not stack it by 10? I don't know. This is really handy though if you're traveling in cold lands and you don't have the gear to survive that, right? Just heat it up, heat it up, heat it up. Everybody's toasty warm. Okay, new spell, Elk Legs, Elk Strength. Well, there's 2 spells, Elk Legs and Elk Strength, right? They just happen to be together because it's alphabetical. So Elk Legs, the target's lower body becomes that of an upright 2-legged elk, doubles their movement, decreases their strike rate by 1, gives them the ability to jump up to 3 meters horizontally from a standing position, or 1.5 meters, and 1.5 meters vertically. So that's your little bound, right? Good to go. I like that. It's better. Okay, Elk Strength swells the target's sinews and muscles, doubling current strength, and granting 2 points of armor to every location. Enchant Ice, new spell. Okay. Cast on a distinct piece of ice, no more than 1/8 cubic meter. I'm not sure exactly how big that would be. Okay. This enchantment takes a point of power. Okay. So, as long as the ice is enchanted and you have to carve runes on the surface, and if it ever gets destroyed, then the spell goes away. Regardless of the temperature of the surrounding air or water, It will not melt. A normal fire, no matter how intense, will not melt or damage the enchanted ice. What about magical fire? Fire elemental, fire blade, fire arrow. But then I get back to, okay, pragmatic me. What's the use here? Okay, so it doesn't melt. Does its temperature not change? That would be handy. You've got ice water forever, that kind of thing, or it help keep things cool. That's very, very handy. But if it just keeps its shape, you've got your ice sculpture that never melts. Really? Okay. Enchant instrument. This is a new spell, kind of funky. All right. It you have a pair of lyres, right? They enchant together so they are mutually harmonious. Each instrument must play at least a full octave of notes with sharps and flats, and each must be able to play. I think that's what it is. A full octave. Okay. Must also have a gem quality diamond of at least 1/4 carat, which is roughly 100 lunars, embedded in part of it, right? Excuse me. This ties into a couple things for me. Okay, but it goes on to say that a separate spell must be cast for every separate linkage. So I can link to you, and I can link to you, right? I have to cast it twice. No issue there. We're all harmonious. We're all playing off of me, right? Um, but it says only one linkage can be used at a time. If you want to use this other linkage, you have to spend an hour-long ceremony to change the tuning. I thought this was kind of cool. If you had like eight lyres all tuned together, that would be a harmonious situation, right? I'm just not sure. Okay, now back to the 100 lunar equivalent rough 1/4 carat gem quality diamond. Okay, back in the day, I played this game called the Fantasy Trip, and in the Fantasy Trip, in order to enchant items, it had to have a, a certain value to it, right? You can't just enchant a rock. If you enchant a crafted rock, took time and effort, so it's actually a value. You enchant it. And actually start off with the whole mana battery, the strength battery, or the magic point battery thing, right? So each point the battery had to be worth 1,000 silver. Oh, yeah, they use dollars as silver. 1,000 silver, right? So 100, maybe it's 100 silver. That seems like a lot. So every 100 silver, if there's a 500 silver gem, you could put 5 strength points into it for 5 points of magic points, right? So I've been using this in my world, in the back of my head, for different things, right? You want to enchant your staff with 2 points of power. It's got to be worth 200 lunars, right? So what do? You craft it yourself. It's handmade. That's a value, right? So that's how I get around that kind of thing. I've also tried to reproduce the random treasure chart out of the back of the RQ2 book for RQG, and it just was not working. I complicated matters further by trying to use Harnmaster, which has a very intricate and detailed value system for gems and jewelry and crafting and enameling and all that kind of stuff, right? But RQ3 has a very simple gem to penny value, right? So I think I'll just snag that and plug it in using this 1/4 carat diamond, 100 lunars as my baseline. Okay, enchant metal, same spell. 1 point of power, 10 encounters worth of metal. Um, the metal always gains the hit points to its equivalent bronze instrument, right? Except for iron. Iron gets half again, right? That's the special thing about iron, right? And it may gain some other special ability. Okay, so obviously you have to form the item first before you enchant. And if the enchanted item is broken, so it has to be repaired or recrafted, it must also be re-enchanted if it's completely broken. 0 hit points. Okay, whole page here on rune metals. I know I talked about this when we did weapons and equipment, but it's a couple of more things to help point out. All metal is from the bones of the gods. But there's this thing about tin. Tin mixed with copper can make bronze. Most tin is used for this purpose because there's no other purpose for tin. You've got rune metal here with no purpose. Okay. Some enchanted rune metal weapons work against magical creatures. I think we mean unenchanted rune metals work against magical creatures. We're talking about like werewolves, right? Silver, bronze, and iron do this. So it's talking about, okay, using the enchanted word, enchanted silver, enchanted bronze, enchanted iron can then damage were creatures because they're immune to normal metals. Well, it's enchanted. There's no longer a magical, it's no longer a normal metal. So I don't get that. Maybe the idea is that bronze broadsword using the enchant bronze rune spell will then do the full D8 plus 1 instead of if you got like blade sharp on it doing the blade sharp damage. I think that's what it is. But silver and iron. If we go to silver, we see that enchanted or unenchanted can damage magical creatures. If we go to iron, supernatural properties even when left unenchanted. Unenchanted iron also affects magic. We knew about that part. Certain other races are vulnerable to iron, whether it's enchanted or not. Yeah, here we go. Unenchanted iron is also good against creatures such as werewolves. So we're talking about unenchanted metal in the metal, but the paragraph talks about enchanted rune metals. And there's the whole, can you enchant bronze? Bronze doesn't have, it says right here that bronze does not have an enchant metal. Where'd it go? It's here somewhere. Maybe it's under bronze. Yeah. Most important metal in Glorantha. No enchantment rituals for it are common. So they may be out there. And that's how we can get them to damage werewolves. Nice idea. Not going to go into detail about everything else here. But, you know, those GM concerns I want to highlight. Happy gaming. Where's my mouse? There it is.